Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Wellness Connection. I'm Michelle LeMay, and usually Dr. LeMay is here sharing his knowledge and information with you, but since we are in our kitchen, I'm going to be sharing an awesome recipe with you, and you'll probably see Dr. LeMay come in when it's time to taste test. So anyway, today's recipe is really easy because there's only 3 ingredients, but it does take a bit amount of time. And I'll explain that in just a little bit. So what we're going to be making is a really good heart-healthy snack, and that is roasted cashews. Now, these obviously are not done yet, but one thing I do want to point out is you're going to want to start with raw cashews. Now, raw is not really raw if you read in Sally Fallon's book, and I'll include a link in the description box below on that, because it's really been through 2 chemical processes. But it's better than starting with ones that have already been roasted, whether they're salted or not, that's not the issue. You want to find whole cashews that are considered raw. Organic, of course, is the best. Make sure there are no pieces, because when there's pieces, there's a good chance that those are stale. So you're going to start with whole cashews. Why? Well, let me tell you why. There's a lot of good information when it comes to cashews. One of the things I'm also going to give you in the description box below is a link to this document that I made that lists carb content in different nuts. I also made that for vegetables and for fruits. So this way, if you're counting carbs, whether you are doing a ketogenic diet or not, it's always good to keep an eye on our carb content. And so, as far as carbs for cashews, it's quite a bit higher, but that's not our concern today. We like the cashews because it is loaded with a lot of other good things. It has a good amount of fat. It has a good amount of protein. You can Google all those different amounts. I won't go into that now. But one of the really cool things is it almost contains 100% of your daily allowance of copper. And copper is really good for your immune system. You could also get copper from crab, mussels, liver, and oysters. Me, not so much. I am not a fan of those things, so I'm going to stick with cashews. If you like those other food items, awesome. But we're going to be dealing with cashews. So failure, and here's something really interesting, failure to get enough copper, that means that you're compromising your immune system. And what happens when you have a weak immune system? Your chances of getting sick and other things is higher. So we want a strong immune system. It also helps fight against heart disease, which is the #1 killer right now in America. You also have an increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. So if a handful of nuts can help build your immune system, why not? And especially when you do this recipe, they're going to taste so good that you might have trouble stopping with just 1 handful. The other cool thing is, besides being high in copper, it's also high in zinc. We know zinc is important for your immune system as well. That's one of the things that we test at our office with this really simple zinc taste test that was created by Standard Process. It takes 10 seconds to find out if your zinc tank is full or maybe you're on empty. So if you're in the area of our Fair Oaks office, feel free to stop in. We'd be happy to test your zinc for free. So high in copper, high in zinc, good source of fat, protein, and carbs. So let's get to the recipe. Okay, so I already told you about starting with whole raw organic cashews. The other thing you want to do next is, and this is what Sally teaches in her book, is to soak the cashews in water so it's above the line with water for no longer than 6 hours. Because after 6 hours, they become slimy and they really taste bad. So 5 to 6 hours is a good benchmark for soaking the cashews. When you're done, just drain them, and then you're going to pour them into a pan like so. Shake them all around so they're nice and even and none of them are on top of each other. And then you're going to put that in the oven for 5 hours at 200 degrees. So this is a really easy recipe, but it does take time. So really think about when you can commit to this, because you don't want to waste a whole batch of cashews if you've gone past that 6 hours, or if you don't have enough time to roast them thoroughly. So think about when you can do that the right way. So I'm going to stick this in the oven for 5 hours, and then I will show you the next step. Be back in a little bit. All right, 5 hours later, it's time to grab out our cashews and put my secret ingredient on there, and that is Kerrygold butter. Yum, yum, yum. So I've melted a couple of tablespoons. You can gauge how much you want to add. So I am just, you can pour this into a bowl. I am just going to kind of scooch these guys together and drizzle this on. Meanwhile, we are going to change our oven from 200 degrees to 250 degrees. Because now we want to kind of turn up the heat. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to grab out a spoon so that I get them really, really well coated. Now you don't want to put too much butter on because you don't want them to be dripping. Save that for your popcorn. But these you want to just have them nicely buttered so that the salt will stick to it. That's our goal. And to add more good fat. Okay, so I've got my pink Himalayan garlic, rosemary, thyme salt that I am going to liberally add. In other words, I'm going to douse it because, as we know from other videos, if you have been watching, that pink Himalayan salt does not raise your blood pressure. Because of the trace minerals, it's actually really, really good for you. And of course, rosemary, thyme, garlic, all those other herbs are awesome. Okay, that looks good. Oh, that does not have enough salt, so we're going to give it a little bit more salt. Then we're going to put this in the oven at 250 degrees for 30 minutes. And we'll come back and we'll do a taste test. All right, these are done. So I'm going to put some in a bowl. I let them cool for a little bit so I don't burn my mouth. So there definitely looks like there's a good amount of salt and everything. So let's give this a try. Crunchy, buttery, salty. These are awesome.
Hey, I hear there's some free samples here.
I guess so. I guess I have to share. Go ahead, you can have one.
Those are good.
Aren't they good?
Yeah, those are good.
I know.
Now, I don't like them as salty as she does, but I can really taste the salt, but there's not enough of salt for you, is it?
That is good salt.
And the butter. You can taste the Kerrygold butter on these. It's so good.
Kerrygold butter is amazing. So hopefully...
I was just going to say, I can't tell you how many people tell me that, how much they love Kerrygold butter. And some of you might be saying, like, what? Kerrygold. Kerry gold.
Yep.
Look, find it in your store.
Yep. I'll throw a picture right somewhere on here. So hopefully you'll try this video and you'll like it, and then you're going to want to share it with all your friends. And then if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. We'd really appreciate that. And turn on that notification bell so you see our new content that comes out every week. Well, I'm going to dig into these cashews, so we'll see you next time on the Wellness Connection. I'm Michelle LeMay.
And I'm Dr. Mark LeMay.
Bye.
Bye.
Mm.